There are days when your mind becomes a battlefield. And the enemy is you. No one sees it. No one hears it. But inside, the war is brutal. It's that voice, the one that says you're a failure. That you're behind. That you'll never get anywhere. And the worst part? You start to believe it. You begin to live as if it were true. As if that mental prison were your home. But what if I told you that voice is lying? Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, faced external wars and internal ones. And he discovered something that can change your life. The mind, when untrained, becomes a weapon turned against you. This video is for you, the one who's tired of smiling on the outside and breaking inside. The one hiding behind a front, while chaos eats away at you from within. If you've made it this far, you already know. Transformation doesn't come from pretty quotes. It comes from war. Stick with me to the end. Because today, we're going to cut the root of the problem. Train your mind like a soldier. And once and for all, kill the thought that sabotages you. Some people go through the entire day smiling, but inside, they're falling apart. Their war has no blood or bullets, but it hurts as if it did. It's a battle against relentless thoughts, against memories that show up like ghosts. From the outside, everything looks fine, but on the inside, the soul is on the edge. And that gap between what you feel and what you show, it drains you. This war is tricky. It leaves no visible wounds. No doctor's note. No exposed scars. The mind becomes a prison that replays the past, imagines future tragedies, and freezes in the present. You're alive, but it feels like you're just surviving. And the most dangerous part is believing that this mental chaos is your normal. But it's not. And it needs to be challenged. Often, the ones suffering most are the quietest. People too strong to fall apart in public but fragile inside. And that silence becomes a scream no one hears. That's why understanding this war is the first step. Before you win it, you have to see it. And that's where Stoic philosophy comes in. It doesn't offer escape, it offers tools. Tools to fight with clarity and strength. You wake up tired not from sleep, but from existing. Like you spent the night fighting invisible monsters, and in a way, you did. Anxiety is a silent thief. It steals your rest, your focus, even the joy of simple things. You try to move forward, but you feel like you're always behind. Like you're losing a race that hasn't even started. On the outside, everything seems normal. Work, traffic, social media, small talk. But inside, your mind is in war. Negative thoughts link together like chains, dragging you down. It's a vicious cycle: overthinking, overfeeling, self-blaming. And emotional exhaustion builds up in silence. Until your body starts crying for help in ways you barely understand. The cruelest part. This pain doesn't show up in pictures or stories. To the world, you look fine. But many are carrying mental weight that's slowly crushing them. The good news? This isn't the end. Modern Stoicism teaches that you can train your mind not to be ruled by thoughts. And the first step is realizing that they do not define you. If you've made it here, chances are you're tired of wearing masks. Tired of smiling when all you want is to disappear. Of pretending to be okay when you're barely holding it together. This message is for you. Who has thought about giving up, but chose to keep going, even if it's just barely. Because there is courage in continuing when no one sees your struggle. Pretending comes at a high cost. It drains your soul. Keeping up appearances while your heart is in ruins wears even the strongest down. But you don't need to pretend anymore. Facing your pain with honesty isn't weakness, it's the start of freedom. Vulnerability, in this case, is a secret strength. Admitting it's hard opens space to rebuild for real, not with illusions. Enough with the polished facade just to keep others from worrying. Real change begins when you stop running from the pain and decide to walk through it. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Meaning what holds you back may be what helps you grow. So stop running. Stop pretending. Pain only loses power when you face it. Being stoic doesn't mean saying I'm fine while everything collapses. That's repression, not strength. True stoicism doesn't deny pain, it looks it in the eye and says, "You will not control me." It's about acting with courage even when your soul is shaking. And more than that, it's about learning to get back up with dignity every time life knocks you down. A stoic mind understands that you can't control what happens outside, but you can choose how to respond inside. Mental discipline is just that, a daily training not to be a hostage to your impulses, or to the stories that pain tells. It's not about erasing emotions, it's about not letting them steer the ship. And that takes practice, not perfection. If your mind is a battlefield, stoicism is your armor. But not to hide your pain, to face it clearly. The difference between those who sink and those who survive lies in mental preparation. And believe me, there is no true preparation without discomfort. Stoicism is simple but not easy. And that's okay. Because you're not here for easy. You're here for transformation. Most people think the mind just reflects reality like a mirror. But that's a dangerous mistake. The mind doesn't reflect, it interprets. And if it's contaminated by past wounds, traumas, or twisted beliefs, everything you see becomes distorted. A simple look feels like rejection. A silence feels like abandonment. That's where the war starts, inside your head. An untrained mind becomes a weapon aimed at you. And the worst part? It never misses. It knows exactly where you're weakest. A single negative thought may seem harmless, but repeated 1,000 times, it becomes poisonous truth. That voice that says you'll never make it. You always mess things up. No one cares. That voice is not your friend. It's your opponent in disguise. That's why Stoic training is essential. It teaches you to guard your thoughts like a fortress gatekeeper. It's not about positive thinking, it's about strategic thinking. If your mind is a weapon, take control of the trigger. Otherwise, it fires on its own and always at you. The choice is yours. Stay on autopilot or become the commander of your own mental arsenal. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." That means what you think often doesn't stay in your mind. It spills into your soul, shapes your mood, your decisions, even your identity. Thoughts are not neutral. They build or destroy. They lift or sink. And when you don't guard what enters your mind, you start to see everything through dark lenses, even what should bring you hope. Many think it's enough to just not think bad thoughts and everything will improve. But the mind doesn't work with blanks, it needs direction. Replacing sabotaging thoughts with conscious ones is the key. It's not enough to kick out negativity, you must plant purpose in its place. A powerful habit. Start your day with an impactful statement, not an Instagram quote, but one for life. Something like, "Today, I lead my mind like a general at war." Taking control of your own narrative is a daily practice. And the more you train, the more your soul changes color. From the gray of apathy to the gold of clarity. From the red of anger to the blue of peace. Everything begins with what you allow to stay in your thoughts. If the mind is the brush, your thoughts are the paint. So what color will you paint your soul today? Emotional pain doesn't come to condemn you, it comes to teach you. It's like an internal alarm saying, "Hey, there's something here you need to face." The problem is, we've learned to silence that alarm with distractions, addictions, and endless busyness. We pretend everything's fine, but inside, the system is collapsing. Ignoring pain doesn't erase it, it just prolongs it. And often, intensifies it. Every pain carries an embedded truth. It could be an unmet need, a lie you believed, or a trauma left unresolved. And when you choose to face that pain with courage, you begin to extract power from it. That's stoicism in action, turning wounds into strength. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Don't confuse pain with failure. To feel is to be alive, to feel means you're still trying. Pain only becomes a sentence when you accept it as your destiny. But if you see it as a signal, a divine or mental warning, it becomes a tool for growth. No warrior is forged in calm days. And no stoic mind is built without going through emotional storms. The difference lies in what you do with it. What hurt you shaped you, but it doesn't define you. Many people wear their scars as labels. The rejected one. The failure. The betrayed. The one who lost everything. But that's not your identity, that's your past. And as long as you keep dragging around an outdated version of yourself, you'll never reach the potential of who you're meant to become. Life is waiting for your whole version, not the broken one you keep trying to revive. Stoicism teaches that the fire that burned you can also be the fire that strengthens you. The problem is not the damage itself, it's your attachment to what it represents. It's like keeping a locked, dark room inside you, filled with resentments. Just because that's where you felt most real. But that's not authenticity, that's emotional imprisonment. And to evolve, you need to burn that room down. Open the windows of your soul and let the new in. Rebirth hurts. It's scary. But it also sets you free. Some people never fly because they refuse to let go of the cage they built with their own pain. And sometimes, what's holding you back isn't what was done to you. It's what you keep doing to yourself. So remember, you are not the damage, you are the strength that walked out of it alive. The trauma didn't break you. It revealed just how indestructible you really are. We all have a voice inside our head. Sometimes it encourages. But most of the time, it's a cruel narrator repeating, "You're not good enough. You're going to fail again. No one cares." That voice was born from painful experiences, childhood wounds, unfair comparisons, and unprocessed failures. But here's the brutal truth. It lies. And you don't have to keep giving it the mic. That sabotaging voice is persistent. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It knows just the right tone to unbalance you when you're about to try something new. It pretends to be caution, but it's fear. It pretends to be realism, but it's paralysis. And the only way to silence it is by facing its lies with action. Every small victory is a blow against it. Every conscious choice weakens its toxic narrative. Rewriting your story begins when you kill the screenwriter repeating the same losing script. Use mental discipline as your sword. Use purpose as your shield. Modern Stoicism doesn't teach you to ignore your inner voice. It teaches you to replace the self-sabotaging narrative with a clear and powerful one. So the question is, will you keep listening to the old narrator, or will you take the pen and write your own story? The mind doesn't organize itself. If you don't train it, it becomes an open field where any toxic thought can set up camp. That's why mental discipline isn't a luxury, it's survival. Rebuilding your mind is like reconstructing a house after a fire. It takes daily effort, conscious choices, and, above all, action. Because thoughts without action are just internal noise. Every firm step you take is a new brick in your mental fortress. Getting out of bed when everything in you wants to give up. Choosing silence instead of reacting on impulse. Replacing "I can't" with "I'm still learning." Small acts build great mindsets. And you don't have to be perfect, just consistent. The brain learns by repetition. The mind obeys whoever leads it with clarity. Taking command of your own mind is an act of rebellion against chaos. Stoicism teaches that you are responsible for your response even when you can't control the events. So practice. Start with 5 minutes of silence each day. Meditate. Write your thoughts down. Train your mind like a soldier trains his body. With patience, with firmness, with intention. You're not trying to be perfect, you're trying to be free. Have you ever tried to find peace in the middle of chaos? It's like trying to sleep in the middle of a war, impossible. The truth is, many people say they want peace, but live surrounded by emotional triggers, self-destructive habits, and environments that drain every ounce of energy. Peace is not a state you wait to feel, it's a choice you build. And sometimes, building peace requires demolition. As long as you insist on keeping old company, repeating toxic cycles, and staying in places that feed your anxiety, peace will only be a distant illusion. Many have gotten used to the noise and call it normal. But the body feels it. The mind pays the price. The soul screams. Peace demands courage. To cut off what holds you back. To silence what distracts you. To break away from what destroys you. Stoicism reminds us that the world outside may be burning, but the fire doesn't need to invade your interior. That's only possible when you set clear boundaries. True peace is born from the decision to stop negotiating with what unbalances you. And often, that means leaving the battlefield. Not out of cowardice, but out of wisdom. Because sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Some light incense, listen to mantras, repeat pretty phrases. But still feed toxic relationships, procrastinate tough decisions, and run from themselves. That's not peace, that's sedation. False peace is dangerous because it feels like comfort. But it's really stagnation. It rocks you to sleep while keeping you from the transformation you need. Stoicism is clear. It's no use meditating if you go back to the same routine that's destroying you. It's no use reading self-help books if you apply nothing. Real peace demands deep cuts. Sometimes it means muting a group chat. Sometimes it means cutting ties with someone who's draining your soul. Sometimes it means changing your diet, your room, your schedule. Because if your peace depends on pretending everything's okay, it's not peace, it's a lie. Self-deception is the most dangerous addiction of all. It disguises itself as spirituality, as gratitude, as acceptance. But inside, the dissatisfaction keeps pulsing. And the more you ignore it, the stronger it gets. There comes a point when the only way out is to be honest. I'm betraying myself. From that moment on, everything changes. Because when the mask falls, the real self can finally breathe and act. Have you ever considered that maybe you're not behind, you're just in the forging phase? There's a cruel lie out there that says if your life isn't perfect by a certain age, you've failed. But that's a trap. The process you're going through right now, with pain, with silence, with uncertainty, may be exactly what's shaping your strength. Real strength doesn't grow in easy days. It's forged in fire. Stoicism teaches that pain has purpose. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his thoughts in the comfort of a Roman spa. He wrote them during wars, in grief, and sleepless nights. And still, he found clarity. True strength isn't loud, it's the one that survives when no one's watching. The kind built between hidden tears and firm decisions made in solitude. If you're going through hard days, don't blame yourself, prepare yourself. It's in the desert that you discover what you really carry inside. Pain is not the end, it's proof that you're being shaped. So don't waste this time. Use it. Study. Train. Reorganize. The world may not see anything now, but a force is being forged inside you, and when it emerges, it will be impossible to ignore. True transformation doesn't happen on the stage, it happens behind the scenes. In the silence of your room. In the choices no one sees. In the battles fought late at night when everything feels like it's falling apart. The world celebrates the result, but it overlooks the process. And it's that process that shapes who you become. Yes, it's lonely. But it's also sacred. While many rush to show their progress on social media, the truly strong are rebuilding in silence. They're reading while others complain. They're training while others procrastinate. They're changing their mental patterns, one thought at a time. Without needing applause. Stoicism doesn't seek recognition, it seeks consistency. Silent evolution is the most solid one. Because it doesn't rely on an audience. This journey doesn't have spotlights. But it burns with purpose. And slowly, you begin to realize. What seemed like slowness was refinement. What felt like abandonment was protection. And what looked like failure was foundation. Yes, transformation hurts. But it hurts even more to stay stuck in a version of yourself you've already outgrown. So keep going. Today's silence will be tomorrow's roar of strength. There comes a time when you need to make a pact with yourself. Either keep feeding the voices that keep you small. Or choose, with courage, to live with purpose. It's not about waiting for some magical motivation to appear. It's about deciding, every single day, that your mind will no longer be enemy territory. That choice isn't easy. But it is liberating. And the first step. Silence whatever pulls you away from who you were born to be. Purpose isn't a divine light that falls from the sky. It's a daily construction, made of habits, decisions, and alignment with what truly matters. Stoicism teaches that to live with purpose is to act with intention. Even when the world is in chaos. It's waking up with a trained mind. Knowing that each action, no matter how small, is a blow against inertia. And every blow counts. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create movement with what you have today. This transformation won't happen by chance. It demands discipline but also compassion. There will be days when you'll fail. That's okay. Start again. The important thing is not to hand over the wheel of your life to fear, to the past, or to someone else's opinion. Your mind is yours, rule it with clarity. Living with purpose is not about finding a pain-free path. It's about deciding not to waste another step. Now that you've seen the battlefield where the real war takes place inside the mind, the question is, what will you do with all this? Will you keep feeding the old inner narrator? Will you keep living as a hostage to the thoughts that weaken you? Or will you choose, once and for all, to take control of your mind like a true Stoic warrior? You don't need another temporary dose of motivation. You need discipline, strategy, and clarity. You need to build an inner fortress that can withstand life's storms. And it starts with small actions. Guarding your thoughts, choosing your battles. Cultivating silence and strength. Transformation happens in the silent actions no one sees but that change everything inside. So reflect. What do you need to silence within yourself to finally hear your true voice? What habits do you need to abandon? What thoughts do you need to kill? If this message touched your spirit, share it with someone else who's also fighting an invisible war. And of course, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. And join us on this journey of awakening, rebuilding, and mental power. Stoicism isn't just philosophy, it's survival with purpose.